Magandang araw sa inyong lahat.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening po sa lahat ng nakikinig po.
Hello to all our viewers from here and around the world.
Napakaganda na ating talinteman ngayong hapon ito.
Isang mainit na pagbati po sa inyong lahat.
Well, friends,
welcome to the Bridges Show. I'm very happy to be here, and I think it should be a really interesting and fun topic.
But there are things you want to learn. So I wanna take it from there and then I listen to them.
Meron silang mga mithiin upang maging makabuluhan pa ang pagiging Katoliko. Lalong-lalo na sa susunod na henerasyon.
Sa akin po, sa mga kabataan, use competence as a basis.
In real life, hindi naman talaga tayo tumitigil sa buhay. Kailangan talaga tuloy lang ang buhay kahit anong challenges natin.
Palawan, Cebu, Baguio City, Atty. Dwight, pati La Union. So we are saying that revenge travel is real.
Mas kailangan natin na i-share ang hiwaga ng sining sa mga tao.
Food and health should go hand in hand. So yan ang gusto namin paratingin sa gobyerno.
If you will just devote your life teaching, hindi ka yayaman sa pera, pero yayaman ka sa tao.
Siyempre, ang pinakamaganda po naman sa ating universidad ay yung talagang natuturuan po tayo kung paano maging mabuting tao.
Happy anniversary to Bridges! Here at Bridges, we build bridges of faith, bridges of hope, and bridges of love.
Good afternoon, magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Our episode for today is about propelling financial inclusion through microinsurance. The unbanked and underserved population in the Philippines face several challenges that hinder their access to financial services, such as banking, credit, equity, and insurance. Addressing their need is critical for achieving broader economic stability and growth. Thus, the government, in coordination with the private sector and the civil society, is extensively pushing for financial inclusion as a national development strategy. The objective is to raise the financial inclusion rate in the country from 29% in 2021 to 70% in 2023. And one of the financial services that is found to be gravely inaccessible to the marginalized sector is insurance coverage. Insurance coverage, a crucial factor for increasing financial resilience and protecting the most vulnerable population against economic shocks, remain very limited. According to the recent statistical report by the Insurance Commission, the insurance rate penetration in the Philippines is just 1.7% of the country's GDP for the years 2023 and 2024. We compare that with Taiwan's 11.4% and 12% for that of the US for the year 2022. And more importantly, the country's potential risks for national calamities highlight the importance of providing affordable insurance coverage that is tailored fit for the poor and our vulnerable people, not covered by formal social insurance. So microinsurance provides social protection for low-income population from shocks caused by events such as illness, old age, natural calamities, death by the family breadwinner, theft, damages to their assets or their means of production. The promotion of microinsurance is one of the key products offered in addition to credit, savings, payment transfer, and remittances in the country's financial inclusion strategy. So, included in Republic Act number 10607, the Insurance Code of the Philippines as amended provides for microinsurance, especially to those who belong to the low-income household. This episode today focuses on microinsurance, a very relevant and important insurance model for many Filipinos. I am Irene De Leon Arroyo, President of the College of Commerce Alumni Foundation, Inc., or COCAFI, and I will be your host for this afternoon. But before we proceed, may I invite you to please subscribe to our Tomasian Alumni Community YouTube channel and follow us on UST Alumni Association, Inc. FB page. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I now call on our resource person for today in the person of Mr. Joey Simon Jr. But first, I would like to introduce you to you, Mr. Joey Simon, or Joey for short. Joey hails from Santa Cruz, Manila. He obtained his Bachelor of Science in Commerce degree, major in accounting from the University of Santo Tomas, where he also finished his elementary and high school education. He went on to graduate school and pursued his master's in business administration also at UST. So true-blooded Tomasian po talaga. And he also pursued Master of Management at the University of the Philippines. At present, Joey is the General Manager of Ben Life Bank and Corporate Solutions and Beneficial Financial Advisors, Inc., where he started as Regional Bank Assurance Head, serving the life insurance industry for 21 years up to the present. Prior to his present position, Joey worked for 22 years with the Philippine National Bank. So kapre ako din po banker. As Regional AVP, Senior Manager. Other positions he held were Deputy Compliance Officer, Branch Manager, Management and Audit Officer, Chief Accountant, Vault Manager, and other vital positions at the PNB Head Office and overseas branches. So these assignments honed his skills in management and marketing and also exposed him to dealing with various banking and financial services and activities like cash management, foreign exchange, deposit-related services, fund transfers, controllership, treasury, import-export financing. So we have here in the person of Joey, truly, okay, really a banker through and through. Joey belongs to the first batch of PNB's management training program and has successfully undergone training as well in the overseas branch operations conducted by PNB, BSP, Citibank, Bank of America, U.S. Secret Service, Chemical Bank, New York. Joey is likewise a professor. He taught banking and finance and risk management and insurance at St. Louis University. And during his public life and public manager, Joey was conferred the Career Executive Service or CESO eligibility after successfully passing the 4-level Career Executive Service Board examination. He was also awarded the Most Outstanding RBH Award bestowed by Ben Life and Most Outstanding Employee Award and PNB. Joey also served as UST Alumni Association President or Trustee, and he is involved as well in the church as a Eucharistic minister. He is also served as Rotary President, Family Council President, Scout Leader, and Knight of Columbus Brother. And Joey was conferred the Distinguished Tomasian Alumnus Award in 2023. At present, Joey is the chairman of the Philippine Life Insurance Association, Inc. for microinsurance for 6 years now and counting. So ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Mr. Jose Joey Simon Jr.
Thank you very
Hi,
much.
Joey.
Thank you very much, Madam President Irene.
Naku.
Very nice introduction. Actually, yung prologue mo, kompleto Ricardo na eh. Dapat tapos na yung presentation natin.
Hindi
It's
naman.
inclusive. Talagang kompletong-kompleto ang inyong intro. So, very, very educational. And I hope the watchers will be learning a lot of us today. Sa lahat po ng mga sumusubaybay sa ating bridges, isang magandang umaga, magandang hapon, at magandang gabi sa inyong lahat po. Sa akin po mga fellow alumni sa commerce, alumni sa high school, alumni sa graduate school, at alumni sa elementary. Alam nyo ho, ang UST Alumni Association Inc. is headed by our Attorney Dwight. Attorney Dwight, congratulations do sa appointment mo sa government. And headed by our chairperson, Dr. Evelyn. So, belated happy birthday, Ma'am Evelyn. And greetings also to my colleagues in the Philippine Life Insurance Association. Lahat po sila ay inimbita ko rin para manood nitong ating episode ng Bridges. Actually, ito po ay open to the public at lahat po pwede, hindi lang Tomasian, basta may access kayo sa Facebook page ay makakasubaybay po kayo nito. I am truly blessed, honored, and grateful to be invited as guest speaker. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Joey, for obliging sa invitation natin dito, lalo na dito sa very interesting topic natin, micro-insurance and financial inclusion, diba? So, very relevant and current itong topic natin. Ngayon, I'm sure magiging maganda yung talakayan natin dito given your experiences and your current position, no? And what you do today. So, let's start from the basic, no? Ano nga ba to? Umpisa natin yung financial inclusion para meron tayo yung broader or macro muna. Tapos saka tayo magbababa tayo sa micro, no? Sige nga. So, kasi ano to buzzword na to ever since pa siguro. Meron na itong mga 10 years na, no? Ang financial inclusion. Bigyan mo nga kaming idea dito ng financial inclusion, Joey.
Opo, pag sinabi nating financial inclusion, lahat po ng mga unserved and unbanked na mga mamamayan natin, lalo-lalo na po yung mga the last, the least, and the lost, sabi nga sa Bible. Yung pinaka nasa laylayan ng lipunan ay kinakailangan maging equal ang trato ng lipunan diyan. Entitled din naman sila sa mga serbisyo nating pinansyal, gaya ng mga services sa bangko. Anong meron ho sa bangko? Pwede kang mag-save, tapos doon po sa mga remittance companies, pwede kang tumanggap, pwede ka rin magpadala ng pera, at ganun din naman po sa mga insurance companies, pwede kang magpa-insure ng iyong buhay at iyong mga ari-arian at iba pang mga requirement sa pagninegosyo. Ang financial inclusion po, ang tinatarget po dito, yung mga maliliit lang po ang kita. At kadalasan, pag sinabi nating maliit ang kita, mag-uumpisa po tayo dun sa pinaka-entry level. Ano ba ho? Ang entry level natin kadalasan ang dapat na sahurin ayon sa batas ay ang tinatawag nating minimum wage. At lahat po ng tungkol dito sa ating microinsurance ay diyan po nagre-revolve sa minimum wage dahil kasi yun po ang ating target participants para po dito sa financial inclusion. Ang gusto po natin, lahat ay magkaroon ng pagkakataon na mapagserbisyuhan pagdating sa mga serbisyong pananalapi or financial services na available po. Na hindi lang naman limited sa bangko, kasama rin pati mga insurance companies, kasama rin pati mga remittance companies, kasama pati mga sanlaan, pawn shop, lahat po. At yan namang lahat ng mga nabanggit ko mga institusyon na yan ay talagang inaalagaan naman ng ating pamahalaan yan. Kaya nandyan na ang Bangko Sentral na nagsusupervise sa lahat ng bangko. Nandyan din naman ang Insurance Commission na nagsusupervise din ng mga insurance companies. Yun po, Mama Irene.
Yeah, napakaganda talaga kasi itong advocacy for financial inclusion is really an important aspect towards inclusive growth ng bayan natin ng Pilipinas. So sa mga nabanggit mo yan, meron tayong, nasabi mo nga, iba-ibang sangay ng finance. So ang sagot diyan kung kunwari microfinance na ang kasama ay kunwari micro credit, micro lending, micro deposit, micro insurance. Kasi Joey, kung di mo tatanong, I am also connected with an entity that's dealing in microfinance. Kaya malapit din to sa puso ko itong topic na to. Kasi tapos dahil nasa insurance business ka, magsa-zero in tayo kasi napakalawak nung very broad yung topic microfinance, di ba? And financial inclusion. So magsa-zero in tayo sa micro-insurance. Meron ako mga ilang statistics dito, no? Sabi dito kasi, yun nga yung very low penetration rate ng insurance coverage dito sa Pilipinas. Nabanggit ko nga, sa atin, 1.75% of the country's gross domestic product ang insurance penetration rate natin. Compared sa US, 12%, sa Taiwan, 11.4%. Tapos, there are also 30 to 40% of the Filipinos do not have any form of insurance, including life, health, or property insurance. Medyo binalidate ko yan. Tingnan ko, sa household ba namin, sino-sino ba yung may insurance, di ba? So parang validated nga ito na at least or 30 to 40% walang insurance coverage. Tapos in terms naman of health insurance, 35% of Filipinos are not covered by PhilHealth or any private health insurance. And then 80%, ito na siguro, 80% of the informal sector has little or no access to insurance products. Yung bang mga vendors, farmers, domestic workers, kasi wala namang ino-offer sa kanila na insurance in their line of work, di ba? So talagang very critical talaga na we pursue, the country pursues or pushes this micro-insurance. So, pero ano ba to? Nung araw ba meron ng micro-insurance or if ever before the dawn, itong formal na mga organization that deals with microinsurance, meron na ba noong araw na microinsurance, kahit informally?
Madam Irene, nung araw talagang meron na talaga niyan. Kaya nga lang, hindi pa tinatawag na microinsurance. Before medyo matagal na ito, no? Before the war, meron na niyan. Meron na pong ganyang klaseng insurance. Hindi lang tinatawag na microinsurance. Under the old insurance code, no? Ang inabutan natin when we were still in commerce, halos nagkapang-abot tayo, magkasunod lang tayo ng batch 76 and 77. When we were studying in commerce, ang libro pa natin doon na insurance code ay yung luma pa. Pero during that time, that's the latest under Presidential Decree 612 dated, signed by President Ferdinand Marcos on December 18, 1974, meron na pong binabanggit na product which is similar to microinsurance, and they call it as industrial life insurance. Insofar as life insurance is concerned, ang tawag pa ho dyan, ang legal term is industrial life insurance. Yung industrial life insurance as defined in the old insurance code, meron mga qualities na similar sa microinsurance presently. Hindi ko na i-detalye because it might confuse yung mga numbers previously with our present numbers. What is only relevant is pinapaalam lang natin sa publiko ng ating pamahalaan ay hindi naman nagpapabaya pagdating sa pag-aalaga ng mga low income brothers and sisters natin. Meron na po niyan, industrial life insurance. Kaya kung halimbawa, nung panahon na yon na Madam Irene, nakikinig ka ng radyo, wala pa tayong no? Wala pa mga cellphone, wala pa internet. Radyo lang tayo, tsaka TV. Meron na mga nag-a-advertise naalala mo ba yung Filipinas Life Insurance Company? Parang ganun. Naalala mo ba yun?
Sa radyo.
yung advertisement nila na yon, na hindi ko naman na memorya ng buo, napapakinggan ko yon, lalo-lalo na pag sumasakay ako ng jeep, papasok ng UST. Nag-jeep lang ako from Blumentritt to Dapitan. So naririnig ko yon. Ay ba, pinakikinggan ng nakikinig naman seriously yung mga jeepney driver at na-explain doon na sila ay makakabili ng insurance sa mabababang halaga. In fact, nag-umpisa yan, 1933, meron na tayo niyan. 1933, meron na tayong industrial life insurance. Yung ang Filipinas Life Insurance Company. Sorry, hindi pala insurance, assurance. So, yun, no? Ang daling recall, no? Pagka ang advertisement medyo may halo kanta. So, ang sinasabi nila doon, similar sa mga qualities ng microinsurance that I will explain later. Ang pagbabayad mas mabilis dahil kasi pwedeng araw-araw. Oo, tiyagaan lang yung nangungulekta. Pwedeng araw-araw mangulekta. Pwedeng linggo-linggo, pwedeng magbayad ng prima or ng premium. Kaya nga lang, limitado rin ang face amount ng insurance. Dahil kasi mababa ang halaga, mababa din ang coverage. At yung kanilang policy nakahiwalay, may tatak yun ng industrial insurance to make it separate and distinct from the regular and traditional. So, nung araw po meron na niyan. Hindi ho nagpapabaya ang ating government tungkol dyan. Kaya nga lang, during martial law, nung mag-issue na ng Presidential Decree 6112, so mas pinalakas ang life insurance. Then, with the promulgation of Republic Act 10607 in 2013, mas pinaganda pa at mapapakinggan nyo mamaya kung paano mas gumanda, new and improved insurance for the low-cost citizen.
Yan. Ngayon din, sabi mo nga, micro-insurance is specifically for yung mga low-income earners natin, di ba? At saka yung mga nasa informal sector. So, bakit kasi marami kasing challenges di ba? Pag ganyan, paano ba mapapaibayo yung hikayat sa kanila na magkaroon ng micro insurance? Kasi for example, medyo economist ako so can we like attack this on the demand and supply side? Like for example, on the demand side, no, yung aspeto ng mga individual na nangangailangan ng mga financial services like itong insurance. Ang isang problema dyan, di ba? Demographics, yung low income level or affordability nung financial service na yan or insurance. Paano kaya nasusolusyon na natin yan, na-address natin ngayon yan in terms of, for financial inclusion purposes?
So for financial inclusion purposes, actually, we do not really need to reinvent our industrial life insurance dun sa previous old law natin. Way back in the late 1990s, nagkaroon na nga yung terminology ng microinsurance sa ibang bansa nagmula. In particular sa yung mga depressed areas sa Africa, Bangladesh, yung mga India, doon nag-umpisa yan. At nag-umpisa yan as an outgrowth nung nabanggit nyo kanina, Madam Irene. Nabanggit nyo na microfinance. So, yung microfinance, yun ang naging partner ngayon ng microinsurance. Dahil doon nag-umpisang lahat yan eh. Financial inclusion, so yung mga maliliit, kinakailangan maka-avail sila ng financial services, nagkaroon ngayon ng financial microfinance. So from the microfinance, marami ng sanga-sanga yan. Banking, savings, remittances, insurance, pawn shop, lending. So, nag-umpisa yan sa microfinance. And what is microfinance? Yung kailangan ng mga tao. Kadalasan, ang focus ng tao sa microfinance muna eh. Dahil kailangan ng pera, kailangan ng pondo, kinakailangan magkaroon sila ng credit accommodation. Meron silang magtitiwala sa kanila at magpapautang sa kanila. Doon nag-umpisa yan. Doon nagkaroon ng microinsurance dahil kadalasan naman from the point of view of the creditor, alam nyo, lender, sigurista rin eh. Kung halimbawa, wala namang collateral, maliliit na mga loans, ano mangyayari kung pumanaw or may mangyari doon sa borrower? So, kinakailangan may sumagot doon. Kaya ang sasagot naman dyan is the microinsurance na in the form of credit life. So, ang ini-insure po dyan, ang credit. Actually, yung ating mga initiative ay nakita din natin sa success sa ibang bansa at ating pinamarisan at ating mas lalo pang pinaganda. Ngayon, makikita natin doon sa ibang bansa, bakit mababa rin naman ang kanilang market penetration. Hindi rin naman masasabi nating super taas sila, no? In fact, meron tayong mga statistics na nakuha, lumalabas sa life insurance lang life insurance penetration. Kung ikukumpara natin ang Pilipinas compared sa mga kapit bansa natin sa Southeast Asia, isa sa pinakamababa nga ang Pilipinas in terms of life insurance penetration. So, nasa 1.2 lang po tayo ang life insurance itong latest natin this year, May 2024, issued by the Department of Finance. Nasa 1.2% lang tayo. Mataas lang tayo sa Indonesia, which is 0.8. Pero ang Vietnam 1.6, Thailand 3.4, Malaysia 3.7 and Singapore 7.4. So ang global average globally is 2.9, and the emerging Asia average is 2.2. So in short, below average tayo. Pero wag tayong mag-alala dahil kasi ang ating panahon ngayon ay hinog na hinog para masolusyonan lahat yung mga bagay na yan. We are presently, we have so many opportunities. Ang sabi nga sa Bible, the harvest is great, but only few are chosen. So gagawin natin, we will follow the Master, we will follow our Lord in engaging in these golden opportunities. Ano ito mga golden opportunities? Aba, alam nyo ba ang median age ngayon ng Pilipino nasa 25 years old? Madam
Very
Irene.
young, huh?
Kaya tayo, very
over
above.
average.
Hindi naman times 3, times 2 lang naman. So, 25, nasa 25. And the Philippines, our country is projected to become the world's 30th in terms of the largest consumer market by 2013. So, etong mga favorable factors na ito will increase market, definitely increase market penetration. At pwede rin naman nating ipagmalaki sa insurance industry as of 2023. Bali, ang insured po na Pilipino sa ating bansa ay 84 million lives. Yun lang, posible itong may madagdagan kasi hindi natin ma-single out eh. Gaya ko halimbawa, ang insurance policy ko 3. So, pagdating ng statistics, times 3 ako. Ngayon, yung mga iba, isa-isa. So, lumalabas na on the average, nasa ano na po tayo? 84 million Filipinos are already insured sa life insurance as of 2023 compared to 2022's figure of 76.4 million, 2021, 80.7 million, 2020, pandemic ito, 74 million, and 2019, 72 million. So, maganda ho yan na although doon sa statistics from an economist point of view, siyempre, pag ekonomista, figures talaga yan eh. Pera talaga ang binibilang eh. So, kami naman mga accountant, bukod sa pera, binibilang din naman namin ang number of accounts. Dati kong bookkeeper kasi sa bangko eh. Kaya nabanggit ko yung number of lives. No? Ngayon, yung 84 million lives na yon in 2023, nag-a-average po, gumagastos yung mga taong yon ng 2,745 pesos bawat isang ulo. So yung total mga insured na yon, nakakagastos sila ng halagang 2,745.70 centavos per capita compared to the pre-pandemic of 2,182.80. Kaya maganda naman progressive naman, tumataas siya ang spending ng mga tao. At very important po yun eh. So tingnan natin on the positive side that the life insurance market talagang is vibrant. And alam nyo, yung life insurance market, reflective yan ng strong labor market and growing middle class eh. I'm happy to announce that ang employment rate natin ngayon ay nasa 95.9% na. Ang unemployment rate natin 4.1. So sa madaling salita, may panggastos sa insurance. Ang underemployment natin 9.9. So ang tinatarget natin dito, yung mga underemployed at saka yung mga unemployed. Wala tayong problema sa number of employed eh. Alam nyo, 48.9 million ang ating workforce. Napakarami po. ng ating workforce. At hopefully, ang gobyerno with the leadership of Secretary Ralph Recto of the Department of Finance, yung kanilang progression by 2028 maging single digit na, may awa ang Diyos, 9% na lang ang poverty incidence sa Pilipinas. Yan po ang target ng Department of Finance. So yun po, Madam Irene.
Yeah, so those numbers that you cited are very encouraging. Meaning, or maybe we can deduce that yung mga challenges with regards to accessibility of the Filipinos or our population to insurance is being addressed, no? Effectively, like yung affordability, yung mga availability of distribution channels, tapos siguro yung awareness or educational background nila, no, of understanding of insurance products. Ngayon, with regards to the aspect of understanding in these insurance products, how now do you differentiate the traditional insurance as with against microinsurance para for all the enlightenment naman ng marami sa ating nakikinig, no?
Oho. Marami, Madam Irene, maraming pagkakaiba at napakarami ding pagkakahawig ng microinsurance sa traditional. Ito po yung isa-isahin ko. Unang-una, ang microinsurance ay talagang gaya nga na nabanggit ninyo, dinesign yan para sa mga low income group na mga tao. Ang unang-una po dyan ay ang premium. Ano po ang premium or prima sa Tagalog or sa Espanyol? Yan po ang kabayaran na siguro sa life insurance, yan po ang halaga ng kabayaran na ibinabayad sa life insurance company na halaga para ma-insure ang isang tao. Pagdating po sa premium, ang traditional, wala pong limit yan. Dahil kasi wala pong limitasyon ng ang halaga ng buhay ng tao. So wala limit ang premium. Pero sa microinsurance, tailor fit ho yan. Ginawa po, tailor fit para sa mga mabababa lang ang kita. Ano po yung mabababa ang kita? Basically, kung nag-i-employo yan, ayon sa batas, meron tayong tinatawag na minimum wage. So, sa ngayon po, ang microinsurance ay hindi dapat, ang premium na babayaran ay hindi dapat tumaas. It must not exceed 7.5% of the current minimum daily wage of non-agricultural workers in Metro Manila. So, sa madaling salita, yung po mga nagtatrabaho sa Makati, sa Maynila, mga namamasukan, sa mga service-oriented companies, sa mga schools, hindi dapat bumaba ang sweldo nila sa daily wage which is presently computed as 645. So, malaking tulong ng gobyerno dahil kasi katataas lang po, kailan lang ng minimum wage ng mga empleyado. So, napakagandang opportunity din yan para bumili ng microinsurance dahil kasi mas marami ng pambili. Tumaas po ang daily wage, 645 on a daily basis. Etong 7.5% na ito, noong dati, yung previous law, hindi pa 7.5 yan, nasa 5% lang yan. Inamend na naman ulit natin. Inamend na naman ulit ng government at para nga makatulong, tinaasa na ang minimum. Dahil tumataas din naman ang sweldo ng mga tao, naging 7.5% na ng current daily wage. So, kung kukumputin po natin, Madam Irene, 645 pesos times 7.5%. So, ang premium lang na isasantabi ay 48 pesos and 37 centavos. So, ganun lang po ka-affordable. Ganun lang po kamura. Yung pong nabanggit ko, hindi po pricing yon. Yung pong nabanggit ko ay cap. Yung po ang maximum. Now, because of market competition, yung insurance, life insurance A, nagko-compete sa life insurance B and life insurance C, so on and so forth. They can select their pricing. Depende sa kanilang pricing policy and pricing strategy. Depende. So, hindi po pwedeng tumaas dito. Pwedeng bumaba, pero hindi pwedeng tumaas. And in the same token, if there is a limitation for the premium, for the cost, meron ding limitation pagdating sa coverage. Yan ay yung tinatawag nating policy, kung magkano yung total benefit ng policy. Hindi naman pwedeng lumagpas sa more than 1,000 times the minimum wage of non-agricultural workers in Metro Manila. So, madaling computin, 645 times 1,000, maximum of 645,000 per policy, per coverage. So, 645,000 ang coverage sa halagang 48.37 ang babayaran. So this is computed on a daily basis. So diyan pa lang ho sa minimum premium, panalong-panalo na ang taong bayan. Kaya dapat kumuha na sila ng microinsurance. So doon po lang sa maximum premium at saka maximum benefit. Ngayon, ang isa sa mga bagay na medyo nagiging issue sa pagbili ng life insurance. Alam nyo, a life insurance policy is a contract. At pagka contract, pinag-aralan natin sa Law on Obligation of Contracts sa commerce, merong kontrata yan, printed black and white. Hindi mo may iwasan na kapag tayo ay nag-avail or nag-apply ng life insurance, mag-fill up tayo ng application form at i-underwrite po ang ating application at mag-i-issue ang life insurance company ng ating policy. So, pagdating sa mga ganyan, these are legal matters. Everything is black and white and binabanggit ilang pages ba yan, ganyan. Tapos ang English, mga nakasulat, mga legal term. Kaya inalis na pong lahat yung ganyang style sa microinsurance. If in the traditional, we have a policy contract that is full of complex and conditions and other terms and conditions that are stipulated in the contract. So, nag-design po kami ng simple and easy to understand form. One pager lang po. So, basta't makita niyo yung form ng microinsurance, meron pong logo microinsurance eh. Madali naman makilala. Yung Pinoy na nakasalakot, nakasulat doon, microinsurance, yung po, Pilipino nakasalakot. May tatak na ganon at kadalasan, meron pang Tagalog version. Pwede mamili ang kliyente kung gusto niya Tagalog, kung gusto niya English, pwede. Pwede ho yun. Then, ang isa pang napakagandang feature na ginawa ng gobyerno sa microinsurance ay yung frequency ng pagbabayad. Tatanungin, ako arawan lang ang sweldo ko. Arawan ang sweldo ko, paano ko mababayaran yan? Kukuha ko ng insurance. Sabi ng ahente, Sir, quarterly ho, eto babayaran niyo. Ako sabi, araw-araw iipunan ko yan hanggang makabuo ako ng 3 buwan para isang quarter. Quarterly ho kayo. Wala ba kayong monthly? Meron ho kami monthly pero hanggang monthly na lang po tayo. Ganon. Compared sa microinsurance, pwedeng daily. Dahil nga binanggit na yung daily wage, pwedeng daily. Ngayon, kung halimbawa naman, ayaw mo ng daily, nagbabayad ka, pwedeng weekly. Pwede rin namang monthly or parang gaya na ng style ng traditional, monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, or annual. Hindi naman ipapagkait yan sa microinsurance. Pero ang kagandahan po niyan, merong daily, merong weekly na wala sa traditional. Wala po yan.
Pinagaan. Oo.
Opo, pinagaan po ang pagbabayad. Tapos, di nandun na tayo. Eto naman, grace period. Sabi ngayon ng bumili, bossing, kung halimbawa pumalya ako ng bayad, paano ngayon ang mangyayari sa buhay ko? At saka sa akin siguro. Yan. Madali natin mapag-usapan yan. Kapag bumili ka ng traditional, meron namang binibigay kami na grace period. Kung sakaling medyo pumalya ka ng bayad. So, anong ibig sabihin ng grace period? Kung every annual ang pagbabayad mo, within 30 days, kinakailangan bayad ka. Bibigyan ka ng 30 days grace period. So, okay. Paano naman ang microinsurance? Microinsurance, mas mahaba ho ang pasensya na ibibigay doon sa nagkakaroon ng default or delay in the payment. So, nag-default, kung 30 days, hindi pa lang magiging lapse yan. Aantayin pa na maging 40 days. So, may palugid pa na kalahating buwan na napakagaan naman. Kasi, biruin mo, daily ka na nga nagbabayad, pumalya ka pa. So, pinahaba pa yung ano. So, ang dami ng grasya na ibinibigay. So, yun ho, sa grace period yun. Ngayon, legally speaking, pagdating sa insurance, meron din yung mga tinatawag na clause yan eh. Suicide clause. Suicide clause. Yung mga taong nagpatiwakal. Yung ba mga taong nagpatiwakal na nakasiguro ay babayaran ng insurance company? Depende po. Hindi yan automatic. Dahil kasi hindi naman natin maiwasan, meron talagang mga pangyayari na nagpasiguro, kumuha ng life insurance, tapos nag-suicide. Okay? So may tinatawag ho na suicide clause. Yung suicide clause na yan ay bilang ng araw or taon kung paanong i-deny o pwedeng palagpasin na yung pagpapatiwakal. Sa ordinary or traditional na life insurance, 2 years po yan. Kapag kumuha ng insurance at wala pang 2 taon, nagpakamatay na, the company will invoke the suicide clause. Hindi po babayaran yan kung nagpatiwakal. Sa microinsurance, ganun din naman. Kaya nga lang, binawasan ng batas ang bilang ng taon sa suicide clause ng microinsurance. Meron pa rin. Pero imbis na 2 taon, 1 taon. Kaya kung may balak magpakamatay, 1 taon, pwede na. Nagpatawa lang ako. So, mas maliit nga lang ang halaga, no? Merong limit. Hanggang 645,000 lang ang buhay niya sa microinsurance compared sa traditional na unlimited.
Kesa wala, di ba?
Yan po ang suicide clause. Ngayon naman, from the point of view of the company, sa amin naman po ito, claim settlement. Sasabihin ng kliyente, Sir, mabilis kayo mangolekta. Pagka dumating ka ng pagkakataon na mag-claim na, Halimbawa, may nangyari sa kanya at yung kanyang beneficiary ay magke-claim na ng insurance. Gaano naman kayo kabilis na magbayad ng claim? Yan ang magandang
Tanong
tanong.
yan.
Maraming ano ito. Itong medyo, this is sometimes a ticklish issue dahil kasi ang company naman talagang ini-evaluate naman lahat yan. Ini-evaluate. Kaya nga ang batas, under the insurance code, naglagay na ng maximum number of days para to settle. Ang sabi ng batas, settle it within 60 to 90 calendar days from the submission of complete documents. Ano yung mga complete documents na yon? Of course, death certificate, physician statement, kung halimbawa aksidente, police report, etc., etc., etc. That will substantiate the claim. So, an insurance company is being given 60 to 90 days to settle na bayaran kagad. Ang gusto mangyari, mabilis ang pagbabayad. Kaya may limit. Ngunit, sa microinsurance, mas mabilis, Ma'am Irene. Mas mabilis. Sa microinsurance, 10 araw lang. 10 work days versus 60 to 90 days. 10 working days from submission of complete documents. So yan. Meron din naman tayong tinatawag sa insurance na contestability period. Ang contestability period, halimbawa, meron na palang sakit, nakaratay na sa banig ng karamdaman at malapit na, pre-departure na, nagpa-insure pa at may nangyari. Kaya ang tinatawag dyan ay contestability period or merong mga katanungan na merong inilihim, concealment, or nagsinungaling, misrepresentation. So, ang contestability period ay 2 years sa traditional, sa microinsurance, 1 year lang ang contestability period. Yung mga nabanggit ko, yaan ang mga micro life insurance. At marami pang iba, gaya ng micro pre-need. Ito, pre-need sa education, life and memorial services. Meron din tayong micro health micro insurance. Meron din tayong agricultural micro insurance. So, in a nutshell, yun po ang micro insurance, Madam Irene.
Talagang maganda, pinaganda yung mga features para talaga maging friendly, di ba? Dun sa mga underserved and bank natin na population. Pero ang tanong ko, Joey, paano naman makaka-avail ng mga yan? Saan namin hahanapin yan? Pupunta ba kami sa mga big cities para mapuntahan ng mga big insurance companies? O meron bang available dyan sa mga tabi-tabi? Paano ba? On the supply side na ako.
On the supply side, ganito po ang distribution channel in particular insofar as microinsurance is concerned. Considering na tinarget natin dito ay yung mga low-income group, ang naging strategy po ay to tie up with the, sabihin natin yung hindi masyadong malalaki dahil kasi ang insurance companies po may mga category yan eh. If the banks are categorized as universal bank, commercial bank, CLIP bank, and rural bank and cooperative banks, ang life insurance company ho, meron ding tinatawag na commercial insurance companies at meron din tinatawag na MBAs or Mutual Benefit Association. Ito po mga mutual benefit association na ito, they are strategically organized by organizations. Nagtatayo sila. Halimbawa, school, nagtayo sila ng sarili nilang insurance company by way of mutual benefit association. It may be open, it may be closed. Walang pinagkaiba yan sa savings and loan association. it may be open, it may be closed. So ang karamihan po na naging way to distribute microinsurance is by way of the MBAs. In fact, ang leading yung company ninyo, no? Congratulations sa card, no? Leading 'yan pagdating sa their dominant
Finance.
sa microfinance and microinsurance. Kadalasan itina-tie up nila sa loans. Kaya po gano'n, itina-tie up nila sa mga cooperative. Oo nga, cooperative. So halimbawa, gaya sa school natin sa UST, meron diyang UST cooperative. So pwede silang maging conduit ng microinsurance. At yung mga rural banks, pwede rin cooperative banks, napakadali lang. Basta't ang the insuring public will have to, pwede silang pumunta sa website ng Insurance Commission. Tingnan lang nila doon dahil kasi nga meron po kasi mga nag-o-offer ng insurance na sabihin nating walang lisensya, mas maganda na in order to be properly guided, apunta lang sila sa website. Mabuti nga ngayon may website eh. Ang gobyerno, ang Insurance Commission, tingnan nila doon, sino ba ang mga insurance companies? 12 po kami. Out of 33 life insurance companies, we are 12 that are actively participating in the government's program to promote financial inclusion by way of micro insurance. So nandun po at may kanya-kanya namang website, nandun din kung ano yung mga product na pwedeng we are very lucky in our present era. You don't need to leave the house. You just have to open the website. Lahat yan can be transacted online and even the payments. Napakadali sa ang pagbabayad ngayon. You don't have to line up in the banks. So lahat everything is easy. And you will not be disappointed. You will not be frustrated. Pakikita nyo doon and you will be surprised. Bakit kaming mga nag-o-offer ng microinsurance, we were able to innovate our products in such a manner na parang practical, no? When I was small, bibili kami ng kape. Ano mga kape namin? Nescafe. May kape puro pa noon. Meron pang blend 45 noon. In-advertise ko na yung 3. Lahat yan nasa baso. Lahat nasa baso. Dumating ang time na may pamilya na ako noon, na-revolutionize ang mga consumer products simply because of packaging. Nagkaroon ng Tetra Pak, nagkaroon na ng sachet. So dumating ang panahon, pati kafe, nasa sachet na. Ganyan na ang concept ng microinsurance. Dati-dati noon, makakabili ka ng insurance nakagarapon. Ngayon, makakabili ka ng insurance nakasachet na. At hindi pa mismo sa company, pati sa 7-Eleven, pati sa sari-sari store at pupunta tayo dyan, kaya nang bumili ng micro-insurance. So in short, parang it's just like a 2-in-1 or 3-in-1 coffee. Ganon ang presentation.
Yan, talaga. Sabi nga nila, nasa sachet consumer society tayo. Diba?
Yeah.
Yan na yung nagbago na kasi yung mga Pero anyway, Joey, napakaiksi ng ating panahon, pero parang ang dami nating dapat pang i-cover. But I think the basics have been covered, no? So, para maengganyo ang ating mga kababayan to avail of micro-insurance for their protection. So, final words from you, final advice to our viewers, Joey?
Okay. So, to the insuring public, we must always remember that risk is a significant driver of poverty. And adequate insurance coverage is among the powerful tools for mitigating this challenge. Hindi ho natin maaalis ang risk. Maya-maya kumukulog, maya-maya lumilindol, meron pang ismag, may baha pa, bukod pa doon sa traffic and peace and order condition, napakarami na. And naka-record, ilan na magiging bagyo hanggang sa Pasko? 14 ang nakalinyang mga typhoon. At sa akin naman mga kasama, sa life insurance companies, we are 33 members strong of the Philippine Life Insurance Association. We should be front runners in transforming the industry into a key poverty fighting forces. And how can we do this? We have to break free from the conventional solutions. Yung dati nating ways dapat maging simple na lang. And we should make insurance not as a stand-alone product, but it must be a holistic solution. Iba-bundle natin. Let us be more creative and innovative. And we must promote, of course, microinsurance to ensure that everybody is insured. And of course, we must always maintain the trust and expectation of our clients. And for the government naman, thank you very much, especially to the Department of Finance, headed by our Secretary, Ralph Recto, at lahat naman ay ginagawa niya in making reforms. Ganon din naman si Attorney Ray Regalado, ang aming butihing Insurance Commissioner, at talagang ang regulatory measures and enforcement ay napakaganda. Napakaganda po ng programa ng Department of Finance on National Strategy and Financial Inclusion, at they will refine the Passive Income and Financial Intermediary Taxation Acts to harmonize and reduce the tax rate of the insurance product to 2%. So, alam nyo, ang insurance kasi may ano yan eh. Meron yan din tax, tinatawag na premium tax. Binabaan na nga ho, 2% na lang ngayon to lessen the cost of the premium. At sa aking mga kasama nating mga Thomasian, alumni, and student, always look at the building at the back of my etong building natin na ito. This is like a compass. Araw-araw tinitingnan ko itong building na to when I entered UST in 1964, kindergarten ako, hanggang sa lumabas ako sa Arc of the Centuries ng 1981. Every day, when we look at our building, makikita natin dyan yung cross. Yung cross na yan, anong ibig sabihin yan? This is a symbol of what we are, who we are, what will be, and what we will do. Yan palagi. Pag tumingin tayo ng ating orasan, nandun yung tatlong tinatawag natin triahite, representing faith or fides in Latin, hope or ispe or esperanza in Espanyol, and caritas, love. So let us always be guided by the three virtues of faith, hope, and charity. And to the Filipino people, let us together build a nation where every Filipino has the security and opportunities we rightly deserve. Sana all may insurance. Thank you very much at magandang hapon, magandang gabi at magandang umaga sa lahat po ng sumasabaybay. At nagpapasalamat din ako sa UST Alumni Association headed by Attorney Dwight and Dr. Evelyn, and of course, Ma'am Ida Chongko, siya ang punong abala sa Bridges. Thank you very much. Alam ko, and Engineer John and Miss Kay for our technical, at hindi ko na mabanggit and the whole team of Bridges. Congratulations. This is our 4th year of successfully publishing and doing this program on a regular basis every Tuesday, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much. Very beautiful, Joey. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that microinsurance products play a vital role in propelling financial inclusion by offering risk mitigation solutions tailored to the needs of low-income individuals and communities. So by providing affordable, accessible, and tailored fit insurance products, it empowers low-income individuals and families to manage the risk better. Increased financial protection not only contributes to individual well-being, but also bolsters community resilience and economic stability. To maximize its impact, ongoing efforts and collaboration, as we have seen, between the public and the private sector are always there to enhance awareness, improve the sustainability of providers, and foster supportive regulatory environments. Before we end, we would like to greet all the August birthday celebrants. I understand Dr. Evelyn Songko is one of them, and a very happy birthday. We are also announcing that the nominations for the Distinguished Thomasian Alumni Award is now ongoing. For more details and inquiries, contact the UST AAI office. Here at Bridges, we do not build walls, we build connections of people, ideas, and knowledge. Here at Bridges, we build bridges of faith, bridges of hope, and bridges of love. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of the evening. See you in other episodes of Bridges.